Good morning, everybody. At 10 minutes after 10 o'clock, we're going to call to order the county executive committee meeting. And Lana, if you can call the roll, please.
Winfrey, Crooks,
Here.
Rizalone, Gould, Harris, Markham, Eustace, Pagala, Trainier, Van Dyne, and Ferry. You do have a quorum.
All right. Mr. Markham, could you lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good morning once again. And first thing on the agenda, we have approval of minutes of Executive Committee November 7th. Move in second. Motion in second, I should say. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have Executive Committee Executive Session minutes for November 7th. Motion in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the Executive Committee for November 14th, minutes to approve. Need a motion?
Second.
Motion in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next is old business. And number one is, well, you can read number one. Authorizing the renewal of the state lobbying services agreement with Curie and Associates. And that was tabled at the 14th Executive Committee. And
I would make a motion to
excuse me a minute. I would like to have a motion to remove it from the table first.
Second.
Okay, it's been a motion to remove it from the table. It's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now I'd like a motion to put it back on the table.
I believe the executive's office has requested that it's tabled until next week.
Thank you.
Until next week.
That's going to be my motion.
Okay, I'll make that. I'll second it then.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, number two, is the authorizing of the professional services contract with the federal lobbyist firm of Smith, Dawson, and Andrews. Tabled at the 14th meeting, Executive Committee meeting. I need a motion to remove it from the table.
So.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to remove it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now I need a motion to put it back on the table.
Same thing, Mary?
It's actually the same thing.
Okay, next week.
Next move. Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to put it back on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, repealing ordinance number 1030, amending condition 15 of the sitting ordinance 99-72 for the Prairie View Recycling Disposal Facility approval proposal submitted by Waste Management of Illinois, Inc., with certain conditions pertaining to condition 15 of the sitting ordinance of 99-72. I need a motion to table for that. But Mary, yeah, let's have Mary have that explanation first.
So you're all aware that we are working to develop a new gas-to-energy plant. We have put a bid on we have put it out for bid at this time. There was discussion that having the leachate being recirculated and gathering the data from how much gas is produced from that might very well be beneficial while the bid is out on the street. And so the decision was made to not terminate the recirculation at this time until the bid, till the bidders have had time to comment or we've had time to hear any of their questions. It's not that we aren't planning to move this forward again at a later date, but a month one way or another we don't think is going to matter that much. And so that's why I asked that you table it at county board, is just as we're going through the bid process in case questions come up with regard to how much gas it produces and maybe some other questions, we just as soon let the leachate be recirculated for another month or two. And then we would bring it back to the county board and ask them to terminate at that time.
Jim?
Yeah, so Mary, I mean, we did the recirculation of leachate so we can produce more gas.
Correct.
And so what you're saying is that we want to stay at that maximum level of gas production while we're out for bid.
While we're out for bid, yes, in case there are questions or you know, there will be on-site tours and whatnot, just to kind of, if there are questions that arise, we have that information available. And that was through discussions with our outside counsel, Chuck Helston, and our consultant.
And our bid is the proposals or the for
Request for proposals
is out there?
is on the street right now.
It is on
Yes.
the street.
Yes.
Deadline?
Do we have Dean here by any chance?
Are they requests for proposals or requests for qualifications or kind of both?
It's kind of a mix, yeah, probably a request, it's probably an RFP.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had Matt Newsman review this, so he's much
Right.
more familiar with the
Right.
actual request. But I would expect it's a request for qualifications.
All right. And that was my question as well, Mary. I was curious to know how long is that period, and was there an RFQ?
Yeah, the RFQ was actually put out, I believe, on the same day as county board, so a week or two ago. That's on the street. There is a mandatory pre-bid meeting where they will be brought out and they will, the site will be toured by those who, you know, I do know that vendors have received it, prospective vendors have received it, because we've had some questions come in and whatnot. So that process is active and ongoing right now. Yes.
Jackie?
Do you know the date of that meeting yet?
You know,
Yeah,
is someone from purchase?
They're trying to look it up.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I was just
apologize.
curious.
It is set. Yeah, it is. I can get it to you after the meeting.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Mary?
You're just tabling this till next week.
Yeah, so that we can see if there's anything.
Till next week, or?
You have the option of putting on the.
Yeah, I mean, we may very well, depending on how things develop and what information comes in, I may ask it to be tabled again, but, I mean, we're not looking to table this forever. We're not looking to remove it, so.
Should I make a motion to table?
Yes.
I think David has the information.
Hold on.
So the mandatory pre-proposal is Tuesday, December 10th at 10 a.m. It's the RFP. Yeah.
Were you trying to get this done before, in December, before the end of the year? Doesn't matter.
No,
No.
not until January.
Okay.
Not until January. I didn't, yeah.
Okay.
They will need more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Money gets
It's money.
real money.
Well, that's why I asked about the date. I didn't know how long this is gonna take.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to table this until the next
Next Thursday.
Thursday. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next on the list says old business, we have none. And at this point, I will entertain a motion to accept the assignment request.
I'll make a motion to approve the assignment for that request as presented.
Motion has been made and seconded for approval of the assignment request.
Mark,
Jackie, I didn't see it. Sorry.
we're gonna have somebody from, and Lana or Beth could probably enlighten me, a doctor, somebody from the,
Not till June.
oh, okay, all right.
Thanks, Jack. We have a motion and a second to accept the assignment request. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Jim?
Can I, yeah, I may I should re-look at this again, but you know, Denise, Speaker Winfrey, you know, she is on the NACO board, and I believe she intends not only for second vice president, which in NACO is really a big deal. We're about to become the president of NACO, which is really pretty prestigious and important, I think, for Will County. There's benefits for us, and certainly benefits for the whole area. And I actually think she'd be a super president of NACO. But you know, we do have to, it's helpful if we show support to her in the form of a resolution, supporting her running or going forward with her activities at NACO. I don't know when she would actually need it, but I would like to maybe leave a spot on the executive committee for this next week. Can always remove it or not move forward, but just so it's in place if we want to move forward. You know, I'm very supportive of her doing this, and I've told her so, and I'll probably be campaigning down on NACO for her, you know, and talking about her good qualities and why she should be the second vice president. But I think a show of support by the board is,
Sooner the better.
so if I can make a motion to leave a spot on the executive committee for that purpose next week, which I should have done before we approved it, but I just thought. So I would make that motion to amend the, place on the executive.
Jackie, you seconded?
Jim, I apologize, that's my oversight. It should have been listed as an additional assignment request. I have spoke with Denise, and it will be on the executive, but I appreciate moving this formally because that was.
So I'll make that motion to place it on the executive committee agenda.
Motion by Jim Moostis, second by Jackie Trainier. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Of course, you're just an agitator, Herb. We know that. You're just doing it to agitate your partner.
I make a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Okay. All in favor? Motion made and seconded to accept the agenda as accepted. Or I'm sorry, amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I'm out.
Herb, stop agitating. Next, we have public comments. Anybody from the public would like to comment? Oh, we do have one signed up. Well, that must have been there. That's the one that was airmail. Okay. Well, this is going to be a hard one to try. Salvi?
Salve.
Salve, okay.
Should I just stand right here?
You can come up and touch the star there and have a microphone too.
Okay, thanks.
And just
Okay, yes.
And could you give your address too?
Oh, sure.
No.
No, just-
No address? I'm sorry.
no address.
Your representative.
Okay.
My name is Salve Messina. I am respectfully requesting you guys to thank you for letting us speak. And I just wanted to give you a few facts of why I would hope that the county of Will would opt out of allowing recreational sales of marijuana in its jurisdiction. In my town, I'm not going to say where I'm from. Can I say where I'm from? Sure. Okay, I'm from Naperville, and this is some sort of a fact that we said that revenue gained from taxes will not significantly impact our budget. Just to meet 1% of Naperville's annual budget of $450 million, we would need to have tax revenue from 34 recreational marijuana stores. We currently just have 20 Starbucks and McDonald's combined. And you know, in your town, those stores are all over, you see those. But if we would need that 1% of the annual budget, we would need 34 marijuana stores. You know, I don't want to see that many marijuana stores around. Cannabis corporations will not be good partners for our community. The United States have legalized retail marijuana that are using U.S. alcohol policies as a model for regulating its retail marijuana, which prioritizes business interests over public health. The history of major multinational corporations using aggressive marketing strategies to increase and sustain tobacco and alcohol use illustrates the risk of corporation domination of legalized marijuana in the market. And then, you know, I spoke last time at the general meeting last month about it's just a terrible message to send our kids to be normalizing a drug. We in Naperville have had, you know, an opioid crisis, and even if you think that marijuana is less harmful than opioids, why encourage any type of recreational drug use? And then I wanted to speak a little bit about the environmental impacts of marijuana. The cultivation of marijuana hurts the environment. The current indoor marijuana production accounts for 1% of U.S. energy usage per year, which is the same amount of that usage of every home computer that the U.S. uses. So that's a lot of energy that is used to grow marijuana. And then it takes about 2,095 pounds of coal burned to produce, let me see what that. Okay, 1 pound of cultivated marijuana equals 2,095 pounds of coal burned. So a single cannabis joint represents the amount of electricity equal to running a 100-watt light bulb for 75 hours. So that's a lot of energy used to grow marijuana, and we're not thinking about that as well either in a lot of our minds. We're thinking about the emotional heartstrings, but this is another thing environmentally. And then of course, my last one thing is recreational marijuana, if it's legalized, traffic deaths in which drivers tested positive for marijuana increased 109% in Colorado, while all traffic deaths increased 31%. Legalization of marijuana in Colorado is associated with 6% in insurance collision claims. So that's a lot of accidents and insurance and probably deaths and injuries all over the state of Colorado. I just don't want to see that happening in Illinois either. And many people in Colorado also, I would say, because express our same concerns of not wanting to have marijuana sold. 64% local jurisdictions in Colorado have banned medical and recreational marijuana businesses. 79% of municipalities in Michigan ban recreational marijuana businesses, and even in Detroit. So it's okay to say no. We don't have to follow whatever our state legislator said. This is our time to allow whatever we would want for our communities. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comment. We have one more that just signed up. Mike, yeah, Gresh,
Yes.
come on up.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mike Gresh. I live in Naperville. I have for 31 years. A couple months ago, I saw in the paper that there was an event in downtown Naperville called Opt Out, and it was to opt out of marijuana sales. So I went to that event. When I got there, I was surprised because about 90% of the people there were of Chinese descent. And I thought, wow, how did that happen? So I got involved, and then later on I attended a couple city council meetings, and I did the Page County board meeting and so forth. But what I thought at the time is I thought, well, maybe the Chinese community, how did they all know about this? Well, they have an app called WeChat. I thought, well, that's how they did it. And I thought, well, okay, fine, they're really close in the community, maybe that's what they do. Then yesterday I was reading an article in Fortune magazine, and it's an article written about the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development worldwide, and it talks, it evaluates education and performance by country of the most developed countries and how they're doing. One of the quotes in there is, Chinese students far outstrip peers in every other country in a survey of reading, math, and science ability, underscoring a reserve of future economic strength and struggle, blah, blah, blah. One other thing it said, the OCT's study of 15-year-old students across the world found that the 4 Chinese provinces, Beijing, Shanghai, Jiangsu, and Xizang, probably mispronounced, and performed in science, math, blah, blah, blah. So then I looked at that and I thought, well, is there a correlation? And then I talk to people and they tell me, well, you know, the Chinese have the opium problems, and so they come to this country as immigrants and they don't want that here. I thought, okay, well, maybe that's it. And probably there is a correlation. And when I sat in the Naperville City Council meetings, I sat with all these folks and I chatted with them. And they were just normal people. There were restaurant owners, there were people that owned laundries, there were homemakers, there were doctors, both medical doctors and psychiatrists. There were just a mix of people. And I could talk to every one. Maybe I'm a little outgoing, that might be part of it, but they wanted to chat, they were there, and they stayed late. The second city council meeting was 11:45 p.m. at night when we all walked out of there. And a lot of these folks had families and children and so on. So what was their motive? What did they get out of this? And I think the answer is, what they got out of it is this. It's not necessary. Marijuana is in Illinois. It's legal on the 1st. You can get it everywhere. Medical marijuana is there now. So why do we need to have it sold in every community? We say, well, it's everywhere else, why not here? Well, guess what? There's not enough money that's going to be generated to really make a difference to offset the problems it creates. And in addition to that, our community, at least Naperville, we see it differently. We see it as friendly, happy, get along, good. Yes, we have other things and issues like any place would, but we don't need one more. What we don't need is thousands or hundreds of thousands, both non-residents from other cities or other states coming to our city to buy this stuff. They can buy it anywhere. In fact, when we talk about where they can buy it, well, golly, they can buy it in Joliet. They can buy it in Bolingbrook, yada, yada, yada. There are plenty of places. Now, to finalize. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I misspeak Bolingbrook?
You sure did.
Okay, let me be corrected. I'm trying to go from memory now. So I'll accept that as corrected. But what I did find is that when we went to the county board meeting in Page County, I didn't get to speak there. A lot of other great people did, doctors, lawyers, everybody. And finally the council voted. I forget what the vote was. Now, someone will correct me, but it was like 6-8 or whatever. But they voted against it for the unincorporated portions of Naperville that are in Page County. And their reasoning was a number of reasons. One is, let's wait and see, right? Why not wait? It's not like, oh my God, if we don't do it now, we're going to lose out on millions of dollars. Not true. Then the other issue was safety. The safety that they thought about was that right now it's all cash, right? You can't go through the banking system. So somebody in here might say, well, they're changing that in Congress. No, what they're looking at in Congress is to change that for hemp, not cannabis, okay? So that is probably down the road. So the Page County Board made a good decision in saying, let's wait a while, let's see how it plays out. So what I would ask is that you consider, opting out, see how it plays out, see what comes down the road. If it turns out it's the greatest thing since the second coming of Christ, then fine, then jump in and do it. But right now it'd be nice not to have it in our community, because our community, I don't think, wants it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Any other comments from the public? Okay, seeing none, there's no chairman's report. I have no announcements. Mary, do we need an executive session? No, we do not. Comment?
Yeah.
Judy?
So, I've said this before and I'll say it again. When we were at the NACO conference in Vegas in July, I attended the cannabis session. In that session, there were people from Colorado, from Washington, from Nevada, all places where they have recreational marijuana right now. What they told us to do was to, and what I said in last month's meeting, and it was interpreted different than I actually meant it to be because of the way I said it, was that they told us to wait. You don't have to jump in right now. Wait and see how everything pans out in those places that have allowed it, and let them figure all the stuff that's going down in legislation in your state legislature before you jump in. And I think that's a good thing. I think that we should adopt a resolution opting out for a minimum of 6 months, reevaluate how it's going on at that time in the rest of the state, in the counties, or in the municipalities where they've opted in, and let's see how it is. Why do we want to jump right in? We don't have to jump right in. They said it makes sense to opt out and not jump in, not rush ahead. And they did also mention many times, and Jackie was in there with me, I know, and Jim and Mike. Take your time, because there are so many issues that you're not aware of that you should take your time on it. In addition to that, they also mentioned the fact that in these states where recreational marijuana had been used, many of the villages had decided they opted in and now they're opting out. So I think it makes sense, since everything's kind of up in the air still in Springfield, tweaking the legislation, opt out until at least 6 months and take the subject up again. That would be my thought on it.
Jackie?
I was there too, and definitely they said they had learned a lot from their mistakes in Colorado, but there have been other states that have legalized it that had learned from Colorado's mistakes. I would like to think Illinois is going to be one of those states. They definitely did say make sure that you get it right, take your time, but I do think that our state legislators did a lot of research, did their homework. There's always tweaking. If there wasn't tweaking of laws, and I mean every law, we wouldn't need a state legislature. But they're constantly tweaking bills. We can debate whether or not that's a problem and whether or not we should put them on the unemployment line, but that's not really what we're here to do. I feel pretty confident in what they've put forward, and I certainly am confident in our land use department that they're going to put together a good set of rules for us to take a look at. It is going to be legal pretty much all around us when you look at Cook County, and so it's going to have an effect in our community whether or not we opt out. That people are going to be here using it. As was mentioned earlier, we have at least 3 communities so far that are in for the recreational, and I think 4 that are in for medical. It's already going on in our communities, and I mean, I haven't heard anybody come to us and say that there's big problems with the medical marijuana, and I don't even know how many people are using it, but I do know we have a few dispensaries, at least 2, I think, Mokina and Romeoville, and maybe more. So people are using it now. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie. Julie, do you have something?
Thank you. Yes, I would like to share data. There is data out there that talks about the medical risks and issues that we have with marijuana. My district in Naperville, we have a raging drug problem that hasn't gotten any better, especially in our high school. And I have neighbors and students that share this with me, from marijuana to vaping. This is an ongoing problem. So I don't know why we want to rush into this when we have not been able to figure out how to protect our children. We know that if they are taking marijuana, that's going to impact their learning, it's going to impact their medical health, and if you make it more convenient, more people are going to use it. the issues we have, we're concerned, we don't want it in our backyard. So make it more difficult to get. Don't make it convenient. It isn't necessary for us to just opt in right away. And Michigan is my second home, and they just rolled out recreational marijuana. Marijuana use has been on the rise in Michigan in anticipation of this. We have seen an increase in accidents and fatalities and the severity of the accidents. And I'll be going there at the end of the month, and I will probably spend some time to talk with the local sheriffs to see what the impact has been out there. But for these reasons, we're not ready. We're not ready, and we need to have an honest conversation. We know we're not going to make money off of cannabis. The costs, mental health, the medical costs, the problems we're going to have with accidents, that's going to eat that money up and more. So I would like us to slow down and not opt in for marijuana, not at this point in time.
Thank you. I see your hand in the back, Meadow. We'll get to you next.
Okay.
Jim.
Yeah, I want to also express some of my concerns about the legalization of marijuana. Excuse me. Legalization only on a local level. The federal government says it's an illegal drug. And, but here's, you know, as I've looked at this a little bit more, I don't hear a discussion in regards to THC. You know, back in the 60s or 70s when I was a young man, marijuana was around, and even though I wasn't a participant, but they say there was 2% of marijuana. The THC level was 2%, approximately in the 60s and early 70s. The biggest advances in horticulture, hands down, is been in the growing of marijuana. And they've now take this 2% THC up to levels of 35%, and you want to act like it's the same thing. You know, I think that the doses of THC and how they may alter somebody does make a difference. And though on my part, I'm sure there's some scientific report out there that could address it. And the truth is they don't really know how it affects you. You know, people can say, oh, it's harmless. It's not harmless, in my opinion. I mean, anything that alters your behavior isn't harmless. Anything that stays in your system for 90, 120 days, you can't tell me is necessarily a healthy thing for you. Certainly we see now these kids vaping these THC oils are getting serious lung conditions. The way it's delivered can make a difference. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns in marijuana. And you know, for those who want to smoke it, or drink it, or eat it, or whatever they do with it, you know, okay. But I don't see why we should put a stamp of approval on marijuana. When it comes to the dispensaries for marijuana, the truth is this county is only going to be allowed maybe 5 at tops, probably most likely than 4, because the state has limited the licenses. You know, as far as I'm concerned, let those, if there's going to be licenses in Will County, they're better off going to municipalities where they have federal control and so forth. In unincorporated areas, you know, we're not like a municipal police department or so forth. You know, we may have one deputy every 50 square miles. I think it's better controlled in municipal environments than it would be in the unincorporated environments. And I mean in an enforcement sense, you know, of underage people and so forth not being able to purchase. So, you know, I still think we should opt out, and I still think there's a lot of questions to be answered. And I might say, you never know when the federal government's not gonna come down on these states and really go after them about legalization. So don't, when you hear legal, it just means, you know, the state has decided, but the federal government overrules state law, I believe, so. That's it. I could ramble, I'm rambling now.
Okay, thanks for that admission. I was beginning to think you were like Curly Howard on the Three Stooges when the judge says, or the guy swearing him in says, "Do you swear?" He says, "No, but I know all the words." But anyway, Mike?
Yeah, I'm not gonna comment today. I'm sure we're gonna have plenty of comment at county board. I would just ask at the county board meeting if the health department would comment, and we really haven't had in any of the comments, any comments from the sheriff's department. I do know that the sheriff's department only polices one village in all of Will County, and that's Homer Glen, where I live. They spoke at Homer Glen for opting out, which Homer Glen did do, so I would like them to speak at our county board meeting and see what they have to say as well.
At the next executive committee, this subject's going to be taken up next week.
Oh, we can do it then.
Yeah, that'd be, yeah.
So, Sue, Lenny.
Hi. I just wanted to let everybody know that I, as requested at the county board meeting last month, I did put together a position paper from the health department. It's only in draft form right now. I have it out to our Board of Health members, and so I don't feel comfortable sharing that with all of you yet and the community at large until I get feedback from my board. But that will be sent out to you in draft form later today for you to take a look at it, and then when I have a final copy with whatever edits, suggestions, etc. from my board, I will present that to you at the executive committee, and you can have that for your reading pleasure for the county board meeting as well. It is not anecdotal information. It is all facts and data. I'm a very outcome-driven and data person, as public health is. So this information is from, websites like CDC, Journal of American Medicine, Illinois Youth Survey. This is real information. So I encourage you to read it when you get it, and then if you have any questions, you can bring those as well. So it is completely just health oriented. It's not moral, spiritual, or financial. It is related to health. So.
Thank you, Sue. Madam.
When we get that?
You'll get the draft later today, but you'll get a final copy probably sometime next week.
Okay.
I've asked my board to respond to me by December 9th.
County Board Member, Madam Mueller.
Hi. I just want to say I respect my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. However, we are not rehashing a law passed by the state. Our job here is to protect the children. And this is an opportunity for us to regulate this. The reason children are dying from illegal THC cartridges is because they're being made on the black market, and we have no control over that. This gives us an opportunity for control, and I don't think we should give that up. Also, Mike, I want to know how much stock you own in growing companies and if it's here in Will County. Thanks.
Okay. Any other comments? Right.
I just got two quick questions, actually. First of all, when the resolution comes forward, will it be one resolution for all three avenues, like cultivation, growing, and dispensing, or will it be three different resolutions?
Mary?
It was one resolution with the three different, and it listed all the different things we can discuss at executive how you want to do that. If you want separate resolutions, we can separate it out, but we'll discuss that next week.
Okay.
You let me know. I'll take whatever direction county board wants to give me.
Thank you. And the second thing I had was, I feel like this is so new, and I obviously am on the side of the aisle where I think we should wait, because one of the things that really bothers me is that the state says that it's legal, and you buy it, you go to your house, you smoke it, you do whatever, you eat it in your privacy of your own home. That's going to be legal as of January 1st. However, it looks to me that there's a select group of individuals that won't be able to do that. Because according to the Federal Housing Administration, you cannot partake in any marijuana in your own home. So I think there's like a disconnect somewhere, because one group is saying it's legal, go home and take it and smoke it, not in public areas. And then the other group is saying you absolutely cannot use this material or this product in the privacy of your own home, because if you're in Section 8 housing, or if you have any federal dollars being put forward for your living, you are completely exempt from that. So I think we should really just pump the brakes, slow down, and try to figure out, you know, the effects of what's really going to happen. I would strongly urge that we opt out until a lot of these questions are answered. Thank you.
Sue?
Just a comment to that, Ray. I didn't even think to mention this, but one of the things that I found in my research is it's not just the Section 8, but also property owners. Like, let's say I own apartment buildings. I can regulate whether or not in my private property apartment buildings, whether or not I will allow my tenants, my lessees, to partake. So I can prohibit it. If I own, you know, 15 apartment buildings, I can say, you know what, all of you who, you know, who lease from me, you can't use it on my property. So that's just something else that is out there.
Mark?
Yes, Jackie?
You can also regulate smoking in leased buildings too. So just so for the record, this isn't just about marijuana. This is about tobacco use of any kind. When you own a building, you own property, you have a right to determine how it can be used, even if you're renting it, as long as you're not breaking any of the fair housing laws or any of the, well, I'll just leave it at that.
Condos, so to speak.
Okay. Yeah, condos can do the same. I mean, so it's not just there.
Well, who's first? You both came up at the same time.
So there are a couple other things I too wanted to mention. That one is, I missed the finance meeting the other day, so I think we have a full discussion on the additional needed for the ERP system. Why we need how we're going to make sure that we pay for it, whether it's in the budget or not. I'd like to have that discussion. And also, another point is, I've had residents in Eastern Will County contact me regarding the municipalities in Eastern Will County have been meeting with the county regarding freight routes in Eastern Will County. The residents are concerned, so they're developing truck routes in Eastern Will County, okay? So they're concerned that they haven't been involved in part of this, in part of the conversation. So I had a conversation with Jeff into looking onto how do we make this, because we talk about our friendly freight community study, whatever we call it, but yet we're not involving the communities, all the community members all the time. So that's an issue that's coming up in my district, which is where the truck routing freight is being determined, right, you know, talking about. And then another thing is kind of the gas tax has kind of lost all its speed amongst the cannabis talk. So I have been attending various township meetings and other public events with Jeff's complete thing in a nice book that I present to everybody. And I have had two, I'm informed, I had Sandy copied yesterday. I'll have it for you guys next week. Of the names, and it's a form that says your name, your address, whether you support, oppose, or have no opinion on gas tax. And I've only had 2 people who said, well, I'm not going to sign that because I'd be the only one in this other column. So everybody on these pages has said, I do not support a gas tax. They feel that they've spent enough. I've explained to them the amount of money we're getting in addition with the 19 cents, the bond money, and I've told them all that, and they said, they do not think that we need to spend more money. They need to spend more money on gas. So I'm getting the feel from everyone in my area that they are not in support of a gas tax. Just wanted to, we didn't have that conversation. We haven't been talking only about pot right now, so I thought I'd talk more about some gas. Pot.
Cannabis.
When I grew up, it was pot. Now the politically correct term is cannabis, but it's pot. Not even marijuana.
Okay, any more comments?
Yes.
Anybody else? Yeah. please be advised that we will discuss this and other topics at the next executive meeting, which will be on the 14th. Right? 12th, okay. Well, the 14th, maybe we'll have another one. That'll be on the 12th. Okay, next we need motion to adjourn. Motion and second to adjourn. All in favor? Motion carried. Next meeting is December 12th.